Hello. How are you? It is late. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. You live it. Shoot. I've been like driving around listening to all these old like 80s hits like Paula Abdul and Taylor Dane. Do you guys remember all that music? All this music I listened to in high school. Every rose has its thorn. Anyway, I love to sing. I think if I had to pick like another like dream career, I would totally be like a rock star, is what I would be. Like if I could pick a career that I would be successful at, I would pick rock star. But I'm a vlogger. Oh my gosh. It has been a crazy day. It has just been so many ups, so many downs. So I got up today and didn't really think like a whole lot about the day. I didn't think it was going to be that crazy. I had a couple meetings I had to go to. It's the end of the year, and so like with what I do, because like a lot of people have breaks, like for work, they like to end the year a lot of times with like team kind of like, you know, team building things to like go out, you know. A lot of times they'll do it like the day before like the holiday party or something like that. So I have a couple of those things that I'm doing, but I had some meetings like that. I'd like to be able to get on here and say that I have meetings with monkeys, basically. Creative meetings. I would love to have lots of creative meetings happening, you know, where I was doing collabs with huge, big YouTubers. That's not really the case. I have a feeling that will probably never be the case. I'm kind of my own shtick, and I don't think I'll always be that way. I don't know. Anyway, so then I talked to... I'm trying to kind of say this as like delicately as possible, because it's really none of my business to share somebody else's story. So I talked to my sponsor. My sponsor basically said that he's wanting to try like a lot of different meetings, which is, you know, good. It's a good thing, but he's like wanting to go to some new meetings. And basically we won't really be going to any of the same meetings anymore because we ended the meeting yesterday, and then he's not even sure that he's going to continue to go to our home group meeting because he wants to just, he's like, you know, I think I need to like go out and whatever. And so I was like, are you saying that you don't want to sponsor me anymore? And he was like, I'm not saying that. He was like, you know, that this has no bearing on our relationship whatsoever. He was like, but you know, like, if you want to go and try these new meetings with me, you're more than welcome. And the thing is, and I don't talk a lot about this on here, but like, I drive like long distances to meetings. Like I go like, because like I love candlelight meetings because they kind of work into my schedule. So I go to like meetings that are like 20 to 30 minutes away. And, but, so he was like, well, if you want to try some new meetings, you know, and we could try some meetings together or on your own. And I don't know, it was very strange. I felt kind of like a finality to things. And I don't see him that often anyway because we don't live anywhere near each other. And so I just kind of had this very much this like, I don't really know how to say it other than I just felt kind of had this meltdown moment where I was like, I don't really know where I belong in sobriety. And, but I want him to be happy, you know, I want what's best for him. And so I got off the phone and it didn't like really hit me at first. I mean, he didn't say like you need to get a new sponsor, and I didn't say I was going to get a new sponsor, but I kind of knew that. I was kind of like, okay, it's like if everything's changing up, then maybe it's time for me to like you know, I don't know, maybe it's time for me to go try and find somebody new to work with or something. But I don't really have, like, it's weird, like, from my last 22 years and 11 months in my sobriety, I've had 4 sponsors in that time. My one sponsor I had for a very long period of time, and I don't talk about this often on here, but my first sponsor went back out and died of a heroin overdose. It was pretty devastating to me, so. But there's a lot of things that I've really wanted in a sponsor that I haven't had. And because I go a little bit more for, I would say, like, compassion and personality than I do for these things that I think I look for in a sponsor. So anyway, I kind of have this meltdown moment. I'm like, I don't really know what meetings I'm going to go to anymore. I mean, just because he's not going to go to those meetings doesn't mean that I can't still go to the meetings, but it's deeper than that. Like, it's our home group meeting, and we're, like, literally the only 2 home group meeting members at this meeting. So if he's not going to go anymore, then the responsibility falls on my shoulders, and I'm not sure I really want to take on that responsibility. I'm not going to stop going to the meeting for a while, but I'm also willing to hand that over, because it a lot of times comes in the way of, like, Alex and I doing stuff with his family, because we typically do stuff with his family on Sunday nights. So anyway, I got off the phone and I just felt lost. I just felt completely just like, I don't know really where I fit. And, you know, it's interesting because in my entire life, no matter if it was a little kid, you know, no matter if I was at somebody's birthday party or if I was in a classroom, you know, like middle school, tennis camps, you know, wherever, I never felt like I fit in. You know, I always felt like I was on the fringe. And even with, like, my friend group, that's why a lot of times, like, I very much have, like, one friend, you know, like me and Tanya, or like me and Melissa. You know, it's like, I've had groups of friends of mine at times. Like, in my 20s, I had, like, 3 friends of mine. We were all gay guys that hung out and went out together. And I did not feel like I was on the fringe with that. Like, I felt like I was part of something. But, like, even my friends in high school, it was, like, 6 of us. And there were, like, 5 girls and me. Imagine that, right? And, like, in retrospect, I realized, like, that I felt a little bit like I was on the fringe of that, too, if that makes sense. And so it's like, I've always felt not a part of something, which I think is pretty typical of people that have addiction issues. I think a lot of times we don't feel like a part of something, you know? There's something missing inside of us, or a belonging that we want to have, and I want to be part of something. I want to feel like I'm part of something bigger. But anyway, so Tanya had been going to this meeting on Thursday nights that she's been wanting me to go and try, that I haven't been to, because it's earlier, it's at like 7, and this is just me telling on myself. For anybody out there that's sober, people ask me all the time, like, what's one thing that you were taught that's really helped you stay sober? And one of the things for me is that when I go, like, to my friends, to my sponsor, when I go to meetings, it's to tell on myself and to tell my truth, because I need to get that out, you know? And I have this huge fear of going to meetings that I've never been to before, because I'm constantly in my head wondering, what do people think about me? Do people like me? You know, whatever. And to be really honest with you, I can put a video out and have 20,000 people watch it, and I don't once think, well, I wonder what they think of me. Like, I really don't. It's the craziest thing. But I can walk into a room of 20 people and become completely consumed with, I don't think they're going to like me. Nobody here is going to like me, you know? And so for me to, like, try new meetings, a lot of times I like to go with new people, or I like to go with people that I know. And so Tanya and this woman that she sponsors have been going to this meeting on Thursday nights. And so Tanya was like, I think it would be really good for you. You know that you need to try some new meetings. And I was like, that's true. And my sponsor had encouraged me to try some new meetings. And so I was like, when I mean to tell you that I was a mess earlier today, I mean to tell you, like, bawling, crying mess. Like, I don't, like, it's a scary place to be at coming up on 23 years of sobriety, and we don't borrow time in the program, but it's a scary place to be at 23 years sober and not feel like you have any meetings, that you really feel like you're your home base and that you like are your family. And you know, the 12-step program that I'm part of is my home, is my family, but I'd like to have a meeting that I go to, you know, once a week, and I feel like I know everybody. And that my home group now, like every week it's different people. It's like just stragglers, you know, that people that like want to go to a later meeting one week, and then there's like 4 or 5 core people that are always there. So, you know, it'd be nice for me to have a meeting that I went to where I knew a lot of people. And I don't know, you know, and to be at 23 years sober and feel like I don't really fit in somewhere is hard for me, you know? And it's like, I don't know. I don't even really know, to be honest with you, how I really feel about it. Like, I've been in my head so much today about it. And so I was talking to Tanya, and she's like, and I just like made a spur of the moment decision, and I was like almost not going to post videos today, honestly, because I was such a mess. And I said, I said, I'm just going to come. I said, what time do I need to pick you up? And she said 6:30. And so I said, okay. So I went with her and her sponsee to this meeting. And it was interesting because I knew like 5 or 6 people there. It was a big meeting. But it was crazy because this girl that I have known since she was 14, and she's 24 now. She was like client of mine back in the day, and I know her whole family very well. And she was getting her 18-month token, and it just was like such a miracle, you know? It was like such a God moment thing that I was like supposed to be in that meeting. And she was so excited that I was there, and she came up to me afterwards, and I was telling her like everything that she was like, well, what's going on with you? And I was telling her everything that was going on, and she looked at me and she said, now, you know that this is like when you need to throw yourself like into working the program, right? And I was like, is this the moment like where the student teaches the teacher? She just laughed. And I was like, yeah, I know that. Like, I know that I need to like switch everything up. Like, and this is the thing, like if you're sober or if you're trying to get sober, remember this, like, you know, it's important to switch things up. It's important to try new things. It's important to, like I say, remain teachable and constantly learn, but that's a scary place for me. I know that, and yet it's a scary place for me. You know, it's terrifying for me to have to go do those things, and so I'm resistant to that. And so anyway, we went to the meeting. The meeting was good, and then like after the meeting, Tanya's sponsee was like talking about being hungry, and I hadn't eaten, so 3 of us went out to dinner, which was really nice because I don't do that very much anymore. I'd like to do more of that. I miss that. We call that fellowship. And we went out to dinner, and we had a great time. My diet is for shit right now in my life. I have completely just like let my diet go. I don't know what's wrong. My goal is to get right back on my diet tomorrow, so. I know that this vlog probably seems a little depressing, and I don't want anybody to worry about me. I'm pretty resilient. I'm pretty strong. I always come out on top. But like, I also said that I was always going to be honest in my vlogs, and I don't want to come on here and be like, yay, everything's okay, and I went and tried to do me. And I really thought about this. I was like driving around before I started filming, and I thought, well, maybe I won't get on here and talk about where I'm at, but I don't want to all of a sudden say, oh, well, you know, I got a new sponsor, and then have people wonder like, well, why did he get a new sponsor? Or for me to say, oh, I switched up all my meetings, and people say, well, why did he switch up his meetings? You know, I think like there's enough people out there that are listening to me talk about sobriety from my point of view, and this is just my point of view, okay? I'm not a representative. I am not the expert opinion about it. I'm just sharing my experience and my perspective. But you know, like, I know a lot of people are listening to what I'm saying, and they're taking cues from that. And you know, I want you to know that it's okay to switch things up. It's okay to, you know, do something different. And that doesn't mean that you're going to always feel safe in that moment. That moment might be scary to you, you know? And at the same time that it's exciting to me, it's also scary because I don't know what my future holds for me. You know what I mean? Like, I can't imagine at this period of time, like, picking up and using, but I also know that there are things that I have to do to prevent that from happening, and then that means that I probably need to, like, change the meetings that I've gone to and go to new meetings, and maybe, you know, get some new people in my support network, and change is scary to me. I don't like change, you know? I don't like newness. I like doing the same thing every day. I mean, I could literally do the same thing for the rest of my life every day and be completely content. You know, I'm a creature of comfort, so change is scary to me, and I know change is good, you know, like I do. I know that change is good, depending on if you embrace it and what you learn from it, you know, but at the same time, it's kind of a, you know, it's a scary moment. I feel like I'm in a transition period in my life right now. And Alex was, like, he understands a lot about sobriety, but when I sit there and I say things to him like this, like, he has very, I don't know how to explain it, he has very, what's the word I'm looking for? Realistic responses to kind of, like, idealistic views, if that makes sense. Well, just do this or just do that, and God love him, today he was exactly what I needed. He was exactly what I needed, and I'm so thankful for him as my husband. And, you know, like, I texted him, he couldn't really talk, and he was like, well, he had texted me, and then I didn't text him back, and like 2 hours later he texted me, he was like, are you up yet? And it was like 1, and I was like, yeah, I've been in my office working, and he was like, are you okay? And so I kind of, like, texted him a little bit what's going on, and he was like, babe, you are so strong, and you've made it through so much in your life. And he was like, I know you're going to come out on top. And he was like, and Alex is not a spiritual person. He just isn't. You know, I don't talk a lot about this on here, but, like, you know, Alex is not spiritual. I would say that when I met him, he was atheist, and he has been most of our relationship, and I would say he's leading a little bit more agnostic these days, starting to think that maybe there's something out there. But, you know, he said to me, I know that these changes are occurring for a reason, you know? And he was like, and I'm here for you. So, and you know what's interesting is, like, that's a part of the marriage counseling that's really changed. Like, he may have felt that 2 years ago, but that wouldn't have been something that he would have said. And it's like, today he has a language that he knows how to use with me that's so compassionate and supportive, and that just makes me feel like we're such a team, you know? And it's really what I needed to feel at that moment. It was like, I needed to feel like, you know, I had Tanya's hand on one side and Alex's on the other, and I just felt like I wasn't going anywhere, and I felt safe. And I have to be really grateful for those people in my life that stick around and are there, you know, that, like, I don't know. I don't really know what, I just feel like I'm going, I feel like, and this is really weird, because I've said this, you know, like, I can't remember when I said it, but I said this in, like, January or February. I said, there was something that was going to happen, and I was like, I feel like I'm going, like, I can always tell, like, when a major, like, transition is going to occur in my life, and yet the outcome I know is going to be really, really good. Like, I feel like I'm about to go through some, like, major transition. Like, I feel like something big is about to happen to me, and I feel like it's a good thing, you know? Like, I always kind of have gut feelings about those things. I feel like there was this huge, by the way, buck walking across the street right here last night in the middle of the road, very slow. I, like, slowed down. It was like, I wondered how old he was. Like, are you 60? You're walking so slow. But I mean, just to see, like, this huge buck with antlers, like, walking across the road in the middle of the night. But I feel like I'm about to go through this major transition in my life, you know, and hopefully a good transition, and hopefully it'll be a good thing, you know. But I feel like a major transition coming, so we'll have to see, you know, we'll have to see what happens. And I'm excited. Like, I try to look at that with excitement, you know. It's like all of my, it's interesting because, like, all of my creative stuff, like my books, YouTube, you know, like, all of that kind of stuff is going, like, very well. So, like, that's exciting. Oh my God, there was just 2 deer standing right by the road. That's very exciting, you know, and that's solid for me. and my career is solid. So it's like, what are you really complaining about? You know, like, get your ass to some new meetings, meet some new people. I don't know, it's just scary for me to get, you know, why is the scariest thing in my life having to go up to somebody that I don't know and putting my hand out and saying, hi, I'm Peter, how are you? You know, like, why is that so scary to me to say and to meet new people? But it is. It's terrifying to me. I don't know why it is. I really don't know. But it is very scary to me. And isn't that silly? Do you guys, do any of you relate to that out there? And you know what's interesting is, like, sometimes I can fake it really well. Like, sometimes I can go into a situation and be like, hey, how are you? It's really nice to meet you. And, like, other times, I just am like a scared child. And it was interesting because, like Tanya said, when we were driving home tonight, she calls me Pete sometimes. And she was like, you just were so anxious. She's like, I could see it on your face when we walked into that meeting. And she just was like, I could tell you were terrified, you know? You had this look of, you know, fear on your face. And I was like, well, I didn't really feel it. And I didn't feel like nervous or anxious. You know, when I got there, the meeting was good. It was a good meeting. People were very nice. And, I don't know. You know, we'll just have to see what happens. All change is good, though. And it was fun, you know, like Tanya and I had fun going to a different meeting, going out to dinner, and with Responsee, and it was a good time. We had a good time. We wore our waiter out a little bit at this restaurant, though. We went to this Bricks pizza place, and Tanya and Responsee both got soup, and it was like cold, and so they sent it back to get like warmed up. And then there just was like constantly stuff wrong with their food. I don't ever complain. Like, I could order soup and it could be ice cold and I wouldn't send it back. I'm just like, I do not complain about stuff like that. And I got a side salad and I got vegetarian fettuccine on angel hair pasta. I mean, it wasn't like it was super fattening, but it was like, I mean, I saw the calorie mark. It wasn't great either. And then I went home, and Alex and I laid around and talked for a little bit. We talked about what we want to do for Christmas, and we're trying to decide if we're going to go to Florida with this family or not. It's looking like we probably won't. Just because of their plans of what they're going to do when they're down there. And, I felt bad for him when I got home. He seemed so tired. He had worked like a 12-hour day, and he was writing an article for our website. And then he was like, I have to work on Saturday. He's like, I'm trying to make it as short a day as possible. But like, so he works tomorrow. He works Saturday. Then Sunday night we have Galantis, and Monday he works, and we get into a car and we head down to Lady Gaga in Louisville on Monday, which I'm very excited about. So I've got to clean out my basement, at least part of it, so that I can start live streaming down there, because I don't really have anywhere to live stream, because when he gets home, he's tired and watching TV, and I am just not going to ask him to move so that I can live stream. It's not fair to him, you know? And so we have this huge basement, but like, it's just a mess with books and everywhere. So I've got to start cleaning it out, so that, I mean, I need to clean it out anyway. It doesn't have anything to do with the live streaming, but like, that's something that I'm going to try to do this weekend, is focus on the cleaning up down there. I want to make like a little desk area where I can like just take my computer down there and live stream, you know, and I think that would be nice for me. And I think that, like, you know, like, I would be more apt, because I really want to do it every day. And I think I would be more apt to get on there and live stream every day if I had a space just to go sit, you know, like an office almost. I think, like, it would just be, you know, if I had like a fan down there and some chapsticks, and, you know, all I'd have to do is take a cup of coffee and go down there and throw up the computer and just be like ready to go. And, So I need to do that. I need to get it going on. So it's weird. I have this very emotional up and down day, and now I just feel very calm. Really helped, actually, just to sit here and talk about it, you know? I don't know, when I look through things, like in my past, like when I changed from my old sponsor that I had for 12 years to my new sponsor, it was really hard for me to call him and tell him that I thought it was time for me to get a new sponsor. And I had said to him at the time, I had said, you know, like, I would really like to keep you as, like, my spiritual advisor. And he goes, oh, no, I don't think that's necessary. He goes, I think it's just time for us to make a clear break. And it was so kind of, like, cold how it happened. And I think that, like, with my sponsor now, who he and I are really good friends, you know, like, I was afraid of that. And so, and I'm not sure that I am going to get a new sponsor yet, so let me just make that clear. Like, I'm not sure, you know. I mean, he and I might start going to some meetings together, and if we found a new meeting that we like together to make, you know, our home group, then I would continue to work with him. But I think that's my fear, you know. And I think I have a little bit this fear of abandonment, you know, from my, you know, growing up and having an alcoholic parent and all of that kind of stuff. And so it's like, it's, you know, am I being left again? And so, I don't know, it was an interesting day of emotions up and down. And then to kind of end it on a calm note, you know, on a positive note, has been nice. So this has been, these are the kind of vlogs that I enjoy to make, you know, where I just kind of like talk things through in my own head out loud. I don't know if they're interesting to you guys or not, but I think once you get to the point where you realize I'm going to be okay no matter what happens to me, and sometimes some really tragic shit has to happen to you in your life, you know, and, you know, I'm not just talking about, like, with, you know, my mom passing away or getting sober. I mean, I've had some really tragic shit happen to me in my life, and I'm sure I'll talk about a lot of it on here at some point, but so once you've had all that happen, you realize that no matter what, you will come out on top, that things will be okay. And I know that today, you know, I know that no matter what happens, I'm going to come out on top, that my life is going to be okay, that I have my husband, you know, that I have my best friend, that I have my sponsor today that cares about me, you know, and that I have other people that care about me, and, you know, I have the support from you guys that are always so nice. And no matter what happens in my life, no matter how scary things get, no matter how big the change seems that's going to happen, that whatever happens is going to be okay. I'm going to be just fine. So there's peace in knowing that, I think. All right, well, I'm going to get off here, and I will see you guys tomorrow. I love you. Bye.